Hi guys, my name is Amanda and I am the creator and maker behind MamaBearSewShop. And today I will be sharing with you a tutorial on how I make my rainbow rattles. So grab your materials and follow along.
All right, so first things first is you'll want to print out your pattern piece. I have linked down below the one that I created and currently use. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I have a smaller size that I use for photography props that I send to someone. So if you want this smaller size, just let me know and I can send you that one as well. So you'll want to cut your fabrics. You have your main front and then your back. Then you'll have your two middle pieces of the rainbow that will be smaller than your front. I cut with about a 1/4 1 inch seam allowance for the main front and back. Then for the second part of the rainbow, you'll want to cut this out from the pattern, but about 1 inch in from the edge of the pattern. You'll want a bottom seam allowance because this will be sewed close. Then for the middle part of the rainbow, you'll want to do that same, what you did for the second piece, but from the second piece. So just an even space from the second piece. I like to use these pinking shears to create a nice kind of torn edge without having any frayed fabric, as I don't want to use any fabric glue. If you want to cut it straight, or if you don't want to use these scissors, you could always do a really tight zigzag stitch around the edge, or use fabric glue, or really anything. Honestly, I've only been sewing for a short amount of time, so I'm sure you guys probably know more ways on how to do this. Then if you want words on there, you can add your words into the very middle. I like to use this little stamp set. As you can tell, my 4-year-old helped put it away for me, so it's all jumbled in there. I'll link down below the Etsy shop that I bought it from, or you can screenshot this and Google the name. These stamps work perfect for me. I haven't had any issues with them. They're just little tiny rubber stamps. And then here is the ink pad I use. Don't judge me. I've had this for 5 years, so it is really messy looking, but it's an all-purpose ink pad, and it says on the back that it is good for fabric. And so I know I had done some research, and it was one of the better ones that I had looked up, so I've been using it for a very long time. I like to use this muslin cotton to stamp my words on. To create the frayed edges, I've washed and dried the fabric, as I like that look. If you don't like that look, you don't have to do that. Then you'll want your stuffing as well as a rattle insert if you want it to be a rattle.
All right, so now we are here back at my sewing machine, and I use the Janome HD3000. And so really you could do this on any sewing machine, does not matter. And so what I will be doing is I will be doing the straight stitch, and I will be doing 2.5. So you're gonna want to load up whatever color you want on top, and we're gonna get started.
All right, so right here, I'm going to pin my piece 2 to my piece 1. I'm gonna try to get my lace piece as centered as I can, but honestly, it does not have to be perfect. Then I'm gonna hold it down with my left hand at the bottom and slide the pattern out of place with my right hand. All right, so you see me here loading up my pink thread. I usually like to somewhat coordinate with my colors, but if I'm feeling fun, sometimes I like to mismatch, and I've now found some like rainbow thread to go along with some glitter thread, so that could make some fun little rattles. All right, so I'm starting from the bottom left of my second piece and sewing it onto my first piece. After I had pinned in place, I will sew about 1/4 inch away from the edge onto it, and I don't like to have it completely even. I like to make it kind of uneven, especially when I come back around the second way. All right, so usually I'd want to sew my third piece on to the second piece, but since I'm going to be using the same color thread to sew on my words, I'm going to keep it easy and do that part next. So right here, I'm figuring out exactly where I want the word space onto my third piece. And I have to remember that the bottom part of the rattle will be cut off, as that will be sewn closed. As you can tell right here, I am also doing an uneven stitching around my words. I did not mean to make it that much uneven, but the camera was placed like right in between both my arms. So it was a little hard to see what I was doing. All right, and so I like to use tags. So here you see me placing my tags onto my rattle, and these are from Mommy Made It, and I'll link down below her shop. I absolutely love her tags. I used to make my own tags, and I can also do a small video on how I do some DIYs, but I would have my own logo stamp, and the stamp pad that I showed you before, that's how I would make my own tags as well as my own business cards. All right, so I'm getting ready to sew my rattle closed. So I'm going to sandwich the right sides together of the front and the back. So if your back piece has a pattern and it has a back and a front, make sure that you're sandwiching the front piece with the other front piece. And then I place my pattern piece evenly onto the fabrics, and the easiest way to figure out is by looking at the bottom and where your stitches are, where you did the rainbow pieces, you can see from the edges if it's evenly spaced, and then I like to put a pin on the bottom and the top, and then from flipping that I can also see if it's evenly spaced as well. So I'm going to start sewing from the bottom of the rattle, and I'm going to make sure that I'm leaving a gap so to turn my rattle inside out. So as you can see, I'm starting off to the side a little bit, but I'm making sure that my tag is going to be sewn in. And I'm also going to be setting my stitch length at 2 now, as I like to do 2 sets of stitching around all my items at a stitch length of 2. And then as you can see from here that my bottom stitching is not straight. And so that's okay, because as I said, I like to do 2 sets of stitches. So at this point I'm going to correct that and make it a little bit straighter as it should be, and then fix any of the other going around the rainbow to clean it up so it looks a little more even. Now you'll also need some stuffing. I won't go into too much depth on all the different stuffings. You could always look up. There's a bunch of different ideas that you could use, but just keep in mind if this is for a child to do your research and figure out what stuffing choice is best for you. I usually stick with 2 different types. I have my polyfill fiber as well as my 100% sheep wool that I like to use. As you'll see in this video, I use my polyfill. Then with your needle, you're going to put on some thread, and you are going to sew this closed using a ladder stitch. So I hide the knot in the inside of my rattle, and then I'm going to push the ends inside. And then I will go back and forth doing the ladder stitch. Then going back and forth parallel, you're going to stitch this close, and then as you slowly go, you will want to pull your threads tighter. Sometimes I like to go all the way through and then come all the way back, just so I don't have to worry about it being so tight when I go through, and kind of if I miss any spaces are a little kind of gappy. And I know my video kind of cut off. I'm not sure what happened. I'm guessing my battery died, so I'm really sorry that I didn't have the video showing all the way through as I went I actually went all the way back, and then I tie a little tiny knot in between the seams, and then you'll pull your thread back through and then cut that. So then you'll have everything hidden. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I can always add in a clip maybe, or if you look up on YouTube another way of how to ladder stitch, you can see another better way on how to do that.
Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button as well as subscribe, as I will be working on more tutorials for y'all shortly. So let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next, and I can't wait to get started. As well, let me know if you are working on your own creation. Find me over on Instagram, MamaBearSewShop, and tag me in those photos. I'd love to see them. All right, until next time, bye.